Hello and welcome to another fun-filled nonsense retrospective. I'm your host as always, Rick. Joining me equally as always is Devon.
Yes, I shall not be swooping, for swooping is bad.
Yes, swooping is bad. We're continuing our tirade into our a trip down memory lane in Dragon Age Origins. Today we're doing the Magi Tower with a little detour to pick up Shale. But before we get too far into that, let's go with the good old time-honored tradition of the nonsense asinine hypotheticals. What have you got for me today?
Yeah, so I've been on a bit of a Warhammer 40k lore binge because I found a really entertaining YouTuber.
Okay.
So my question is pretty simple. You get to pick any character from the games, as in the Dragon Age games, to become a Warhammer 40k style Primarch. Who do you pick and why?
Ooh.
I know, it's a fun one, isn't it?
It is, yeah. The most obvious pick is Cullen, because he already acts like a Space Marine.
Does he though?
Well, kind of. Like, he's got the fur coat on the back of him, so, like, he fits with the Space Wolf aesthetic. He doesn't act like a Space Wolf in any way, but, like, he'd probably fit quite well in with something like the White Scars, who also have that kind of aesthetic when they bother to use it. What's my advance on Cullen? Man, wouldn't it be so much more fun to have Morrigan, though?
Yeah, it would be. The only problem is shit. How many Psyker Primarchs are there that don't fall to chaos?
Like one.
Yeah, there's not many. Like, because Magnus is the fucking big one that Psyker wise, and his descent into chaos is so weird.
Yeah, like he did everything he could to warn everybody about chaos, and then when he got like slapped down for doing chaosy things, he was like, well, fine, fuck it, I might as well be a villain if you're going to punish me like one.
It actually kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And then you got Fulgrim, who's just a dick. Alright, Fulgrim had some redeeming qualities at the beginning, but like it very quickly descended into, oh, you're just a dick.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd probably like have Morrigan as kind of a parallel to the Marine Primarchs, as a like a Chaos Sisters Primarch, as it were, and not even that bad of one, because she's a reasonably like nice person if you can push her buttons.
Well, like the annoying thing is with Morrigan, if we're doing a parallel rather than just making one a Primarch of their own chapter, Morrigan really does strike me as like a Morathi type from Warhammer Sigmar.
Oh yeah, totally. To the point that Flemeth might actually serve that purpose even better, but Morrigan's more fun.
Yeah. I think you've warped it a little bit too much. Let's do straight up like that. They become a Space Marine Primarch. They're one of the. There was more than 22. There's actually 23.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to. So it's basically gonna have to be a bloke.
No, it doesn't have to be a bloke because that rule's stupid.
Yeah, fair enough.
If there can be Lady Custodes, there can be Lady Space Marines. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Like, all of the ones that I can think of are, like, the ones that I would most like to see are all roguish ones. So, like Morrigan being a psychic type, Isabella being very definitely definition of tits and wine rogue.
I don't think Isabella would be able to be a Primarch.
No. Well, also because she's infertile, which means that her gene seed just wouldn't work.
Who gives a fuck about that? Why are you going to make it weird?
I think Varric would actually make a very good, like, role model for a bunch of Marines.
Okay.
If the Marines happen to be Votan Marines, then so be it.
Rick, you're in charge of this.
Yeah, like, they probably would just be the Votan, as in the Squats version of the Marines, but with under the Marines' aegis, and not just being the Leagues of Votan as they were. So yeah, I'd have Varric doing that, because I think he's the best role model that the dwarves have.
Yeah, so Varric would be a Primarch of this new Space Marine, not chapter, because chapter is very the terminology in Warhammer 40k can get fucked. That's all I'm saying. Yeah,
like, so if his original 20 plus, then it's legions, isn't it? And then they become chapters after they got told, oh, you can't have legions anymore.
Yeah, poor Lamenters.
Yeah, so what we're going to call them? The High Towns. I don't know.
Oh, it's just going to be fucking named the Hightown Prowlers, like the fucking weird gangs you have to fight every night.
Yeah.
Okay. Fucking Varric.
That's all I can think of on the top of my head, yeah. But Varric could very definitely think of... Varric is a better writer than I am, by virtue of being written by better writers than me.
It's easy to write a good character when there's a whole team writing them.
Yeah. Harder to write a character who is a writer. In fact, no, it's not, because all writers are writers.
Yep.
So all writers have that experience of being a writer. So a lot of writers end up being characters.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my tirade done. Who do you going to pick? What's the Legion going to be like, and why?
I'm going to pick the Iron Bull because he's already a leader. And his Legion would just be, hey, you know the Space Wolves, they're like that, but slightly more disciplined.
Yeah,
but only slightly. Would Iron Bull not get so hype if he was allowed to fight Lehman Russ?
Oh, totally. And probably would employ healing mages just so they could do it again later.
Maybe. But yeah, it's very easy. Like, again, when you've got a character who's already a leader, it makes this sort of hypothetical a lot easier, because it's just them, but emphasised to the nth degree. The only problem being that, honestly, he is just Lehman Russ again.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I love Lehman Russ.
Man, would there be a rival tank that Iron Bull makes?
A rival tank? I don't think there would be. I think, here's the problem, is I think Iron Bull would still have his aversion to magic, only that aversion would be to Psychers.
Yeah.
So he'd be just fucking pissy at all the Psyker Primarchs.
Yeah. So you got the Lehman Russ battle tank that the Imperial Guard use. I could see there actually being an Iron Bull battle tank that the Sister of Battles use.
No, it's just a Lehman Russ again, but with a slightly different shaped cannon.
It's got 2 cannons, one for each horn.
If you like. But yeah, it is what it is. That's the thing I like about the Primarchs, though, is having, even when they were all on the same side, half of them hated the other half.
Oh yeah, and it wasn't even just as simple a divide as Chaos versus Marines.
No, God no. Like Angron
was just because they
hated Guilliman.
Yeah, they were all fucking petty.
To be fair, I think Angron's got a fair fucking point to be pissy at Guilliman.
Yeah.
Fucking... Anyway, this isn't a Warhammer 40k podcast, it's a Dragon Age podcast, but before we get to that, we've got another question.
Yeah, my one for you is, it's a bit of a weird one. You get to take a snapshot of planet Earth right now as it is today, but without any animals or humans or anything. What do you do with it?
So there's no fauna on it at all?
There's plants. You can find enough food, and you can return to the real world at any point.
Oh, wait, so I'm actually walking around on the planet. I'm not just looking at pictures.
Yeah, you have you are able to walk around. You're able to go wherever you like. Cars and if you don't want to drive, then taxis and planes and stuff. They work. Just don't go into the cockpit.
Yeah, because turns out being flyed by a little monkey fella.
turns out, little monkey fella.
Don't talk shit. Oh fuck! If people don't know what we're referencing, then go look up the. It's called the Ricky Gervais Show, but it might as well be called the Carl Pilkington Show. Yeah, the Carl Pilkington Show as animated by Hanna-Barbera. But yeah, that completely changes it, because I thought we were looking at photographs, but if I've got to actually explore, I don't really know, to be honest with you, because the thing that makes the world interesting is the fauna and the life. In my opinion, like there's no point in going deep into the jungles, because what are you going to find? You're not going to find any animal species. You're not going to find lost, non-contacted tribes ever, because you've given the caveat of they're gone. So there's really not much. When it was going to be the pictures, I would have liked to have seen the bottom of the ocean, but I don't want to go there.
Sure. Yeah, because you'd have to live.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those where I don't know, man, because as well, all of the interesting sites require a lot of physical efforts, whether or not there is people or wildlife or not. Because, like, even without anything else on the planet, I'm not going to be able to climb Everest. Shit, I'd struggle with Ben Nevis.
Yeah, totally.
So,
I had to think about this, and I thought, like, the number of places that are, like, walled off to someone like me that I'd be interested to go and see. It's a non-zero number.
Well, go on, it's your question then, so name a couple.
Things like Mecca, Area 51.
Okay, but what's there to see at Area 51?
We don't know.
Yeah, but if all the life forms are gone, even if there was aliens, they wouldn't be there anymore.
Yeah, so I guess you just see like the shit that they've got on lockdown, like a UFO that they've captured or whatever.
I want to stress, I don't believe there's UFOs or aliens in Area 51.
Oh no!
But if there was, this question wouldn't answer that question definitively. I want to imagine that Area 51 has an area that has prop spaceships just to fuck with people with time powers.
Yeah. And like there's probably like a bunch of people that are hired day in, day out to just dress up in Mickey Mouse alien costumes.
That would be so funny. What's your job today, Bill? Oh, I'm on alien duty. What, you're wrangling the aliens? No, I have to pretend to be an alien.
Man, I think we've just workshopped a frickin' indie animation.
I think what we've done is, like, you know, like once a season, the it's not regular show.
Yeah,
what's it called? Fucking Rick and Morty has that interdimensional cable, and it's just them riffing and animating what they think's good. That's what we just animate. That's what we just came up with. Is one of those level ideas.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those. And mecha, I'm not a spiritual person, so mecha don't mean much to me.
No, neither am I, which makes it like a lot more objective that I just go in and go, this is just a room.
Well, it's just it. It's like, how much bloodshed is made over that fucking shit being just a room?
Yeah.
You know? I'm not disparaging anyone's religion. You can believe what you like as long as you don't hurt anyone else, you know? But to me, it doesn't mean anything, so why would I want to go there?
True. But yeah, hopefully this one was a bit fun.
It certainly made me actually think.
Yeah, which is more than my questions usually do.
Yeah, you know, behind the curtain a little bit, I've been editing together the big compilation episode for the end of the year, because if I do it early, then I don't have to struggle near the end of the year. And the amount of times where I just go, oh, Rick, that's not a hypothetical question, it's just a question.
But yes, let's talk about Dragon Age today. We're talking about, as we said, we're going to take a dip into Shale and then go into the Magi Tower.
So, starting straight off, we just came off of Lovering. We would have gone to camp. The camp, not a lot really happens at camp at this point in the game. You can talk to Alistair and Morrigan, Leliana and Sten to get a little bit of dialogue. You can pet the doggo. There's that one character relating to the DLC that if you don't have that DLC, he will try to sell you the DLC, and don't say yes to anything he asks. And you've also got... I've forgotten the father's name, but you got Sandal and I want to say Bodan?
Yeah, Bodan Fedek.
Yeah. These guys basically act as your forever merchants, so whenever you go back to camp, you can talk to these guys. These were the guys we saved from Darkspawn at the end of Lovering, and they said, oh, we don't want to hang out with Grey Wardens, that's a bit too much heat, and then they decide, actually, we're probably better off staying with you guys, the Darkspawn will eat us.
Yeah. The other thing that happens here, I think we talked about it briefly last time, is that when you move on, Lothering's part of the map just gets swallowed up by darkness on the map.
Yeah.
You can't go back there.
Yeah, it looks like encroaching ink, and it's meant to represent the ravages of the Darkspawn horde.
Yeah, the inextricable tide of the Darkspawn. And I think that was a really good way of early on showing that, you know, the passage of time had consequences. Unfortunately, that's basically the only time that happens.
Yeah, because while the darkness encroaches even more as the game progresses, it's always very much avoids the areas you're going to.
Yeah.
But yeah, as Rick mentioned, we're going to recruit Shale before we move to the Magi Tower, because Shale's weird. She's technically DLC, however, you get her with the game. Because back we were talking about this off podcast, weren't we, Rick? Where this was during an age where video game companies in general, but EA was spearheading it real hard, were trying to discourage people from buying games secondhand because they don't get any of that money.
Yeah. And the way that they did it in this was obviously Shale, and the other side of it was the Blood Dragon armor for Mass Effect 2. And if you... The biggest one for me, really, was Mass Effect 3, where you didn't get access to multiplayer unless you bought the game new.
Yeah, you're correct. However, with Mass Effect 2, the thing you didn't get was even worse than that, because the thing you didn't get was the precursor comic.
The precursor comic, and Zaid as well.
Yeah, so that meant you couldn't actually make any choices. And you got the Blood Dragon armor in Mass Effect 2 by having it in Dragon Age Origins.
Yes, okay, fair enough.
So it's one of those weird ones. Was it Zaid? I think you got Zaid for free with maybe with Xbox, because with the PlayStation you got Kasumi.
Okay, yeah, that would have been the other way around then. Yeah, so you got Zaid and the Hammerhead missions on, and I think Operation Overlord on Xbox.
Oh, if you got given Operation Overlord for free, that's a big fucking freebie.
Yeah, whereas on the PlayStation side, like you say, getting Kasumi, because we had to pay for Kasumi, and the gun that she comes with.
Yeah, I had to pay for Zaid, so, you know, it balances out.
Yeah. I think Zaid does he come with the Matic, was it?
I couldn't tell you, man.
Yeah, like, he comes with a rifle. I know there was also a weapon DLC, and the big thing about that was the Geth plasma shotgun, which, like, okay, if you're a Vanguard, like most people should be, yeah, the Geth plasma shotgun is now your main.
Well, I've told you before, I actually don't like playing as classes in Mass Effect. I like playing as a soldier because I like the shoot bang.
Sure.
However, I did like the Sentinel for a bit because I think they still got the assault rifle.
Yeah, they got the rifle and an SMG.
No, you wouldn't got an SMG
pistol and
rifle. That would be pointless.
Yeah. Vanguard got shotgun and SMG, and obviously halfway through the game you got to choose an additional item.
Hey Rick, what's your favourite part of the Dragon Age breakthrough when they spoke about Mass Effect?
But yeah, you get to Honleith, which is a completely unique little village, reserved entirely for Shale.
So in order to trigger the DLC, you have to do some travelling and trigger a random encounter where you meet this dickhead who's selling his control rod. You can buy it for insanely cheap, and you're like, wow, this is cheap. Of course I'm going to pay you $50. Actually, I think he just gives it to you for free.
Yeah, I think he would have to give it to you for free, because otherwise it'd just, like, lock people out of the DLC.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because you don't really have that much money at the end of Lovering.
No, you don't have much money just in general in Dragon Age 1.
Yeah, because they do it on they do it properly on the D&D system where it's copper, silver, and gold.
Yeah, if you got more than like 5 or 6 gold, then you've been hoarding.
Oh, I used to hoard all my gold until Denerim because there's some really sweet items in that final shop.
Yeah, there are.
But you can only buy one.
Yeah, there's basically a bunch of items where you save up the entire game for one of them, choose it and buy it, or you do the bug to get infinite money and buy them all.
I didn't know that existed, but boy do I wish it was, because there were so many fun items in that final shop. But we're not talking about that today, we're talking about Honleith. Congratulations remembering the village name, Rick, because I had to look this up, because I forgot.
Yeah, I also looked it up, but yeah, I have it in front of me. Yeah, Honleith is this nice little, cute little village. It feels like a village from Fable. That's how quaint it is.
It generally, to me, it feels like Redcliffe, but scaled down to the nth degree.
Yeah, like model village Redcliffe.
Like, that's just how it felt to me. Talking about the village proper, there's not actually much going on. You come to the village as it's under attack, you go through the village, you kill a fuck ton of Darkspawn, because they make it pretty apparent that Darkspawn aren't that big of a deal to Grey Wardens.
Yeah, but like to normal people, they are very deadly. Not because they're good at fighting, but because if you get any of their blood in you, then you're on a timer.
Yeah, which makes Sten a badass.
Yeah.
But yeah, you work your way through the village. I don't think there's anything, to my knowledge, I don't think there's anything nasty in this village. I think there might be a mage Darkspawn, but they're really not that big of a deal as long as you isolate them.
Yeah. The main characters here are Matthias, Amalia, and Kitty.
Do you not meet Wilhelm? No, he's their grandfather, isn't he? Or father?
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, Amalia is enthralled by Kitty, and when you get to talk to Kitty, it's because, yeah, Kitty is very obviously not just a cat.
Yeah, so, again, this Shale recruitment mission is very short. There's not much to talk about here. You need to promise that you'll free Kitty, otherwise everything else just ends with that little girl getting completely destroyed.
Yeah, the cat either possesses the girl or the dad, or you do the puzzle and destroy the demon.
Yeah, so you do the puzzle, and even the little girl isn't stupid enough to willingly submit to Kitty. Like, you say, we've done your puzzle, we're freeing you, you can't have the girl. And she goes, I can't remember, actually. I'm pretty sure she goes, oh, all right then.
Yeah, and then you destroy it.
I'm getting a phone call from Motherwell. Don't know why the fuck I'm getting a phone call from Motherwell. Sorry, I was just so distracted because that's in Scotland, isn't it?
I assume so.
Yeah, fuckers. Anyway, yeah, Kitty. You don't want... They make it very more obvious in this game than any of the others that demonic possession is bad.
Oh, yeah. Although we are about to touch on the one where it's potentially not the worst outcome to let the demon have its way.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that scene in depth because I kind of hate it.
Yeah.
Not because it's a poorly... I think it's a really well-written scene and it's a really good sort of moral conundrum to give the player, but boy, do I hate the implication.
Yes.
But anyway.
Yes.
You should not let Kitty possess the child. If you refuse to help Kitty full stop, then that gives you a definite bad ending. You can let Kitty possess the child after you've done the puzzle, and it's just all bad options apart from either helping Kitty and convincing her not to possess the child or killing the kitty.
Yes.
We keep calling it Kitty. It's a lust demon.
Yeah, it's a desire demon in it. Yeah, its eyes glow purple and everything.
I mean, if you free it, you see its form. So
sure.
But yeah,
sure.
The whole reason we even have this subquest is the password we were given with the control wad was incorrect, and in exchange, the father of the child that you save is just like, okay, here's the actual passphrase, and it's like Olamgar or some bollocks.
Yeah, Dulen Harn.
Okay. And yeah,
you were very close.
and the thing that really I know it's a video game, and it would be real sour grapes for them not to give you the thing. But I'm genuinely surprised that the guy followed through with his promise, considering how much he hates that golem.
Well, on the other hand, it's basically letting the golem go away.
Yeah, but at the moment it's a harmless statue.
True.
It's one of those. Like the whole reason why it's frozen in the first place. I keep saying it by mistake. I mean Shale. The whole reason she's frozen in the first place is she broke through of her programming for half a second, and that was enough time for her to murk Wilhelm.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll wake up Shale. I adore Shale. She is so fucking sassy while also being so fucking like the straight man.
Yeah, she's abrasive and also comically serious.
Yeah. When you break her loose, she's like, "This is strange. I don't think that you there, squishy one, command me to do something." And the commands are great. If you have Zevran, you can command Shale to hug him, and Zevran's like, "I did not agree to this." That was the latest I've ever recruited Shale, just because I wanted to, play a bit of the game without Shale.
Yeah.
And yeah, having Zeb, that's so funny. You can also order Shale to punch Alistair, and Alistair just goes, "Hey!" Either way, Shale doesn't do it, because she's like, "I'm not compelled to do this. This is new. I don't know what to do with myself." And it's like, you can just straight up say, if you don't know what to do, you can just join me. Like, you don't have to do everything I say, but you can help me kill Darkspawn. And then I think she has that bit about birds.
Yeah, and pigeons. She hates pigeons because they shit on her.
Yeah. If you put Shale in your party as soon as you recruit her and you leave the village, you get this real fun cutscene where everyone's leaving and you hear a horrible clucking sound and turn around to Shale wiping her foot after brutally stepping on a chicken, and she just sort of shrugs when everyone looks at her as if to say, "What the fuck, bruh?"
Yeah.
Shale doesn't like birds. It's incredibly funny, and it super makes sense. A bunch of villagers used to scatter breadcrumbs around her so it would attract birds even more.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Shale. She basically has no content after this apart from Carradine's Cross.
Yeah, you can. I also recommend bringing her to the Branca mission.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's just the same thing. There's the Branca mission that takes you to Carradine's Cross.
Okay, so there's another bit of the Shale DLC that comes after you've done Carradine's Cross, which is only accessible if you have Shale Steel.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember the exact name, but it involves a Tig.
Oh, is it like Ortan Tig or something?
It's not Ortan, I think that's the one from 2.
Sure.
Anyway, doesn't matter, we'll come to it later. Like, we'll probably just bundle all the DLC into one episode, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I've not done much of the DLC. I've done the one that you get sold, and that's it.
Right, so we've got that one. We've got Return to Ostagar we need to talk about.
I think I've done Return to Ostagar. Yeah, it's just a bunch. It's like the Normandy Crash site of DLCs. Like, you just go around and pick some shit up, get a couple of
Well, let's not talk about... there are things to talk about, and we'll do that in the episode. That's why we're going to mush all the DLC into one. So, we've got the Fortress, we've got Ostagar, Return to Ostagar, and we've got the second half of Shale's DLC, which, again, is going to be much later. We might as well just tack that one onto Orzammar.
Yeah, and we've got the Golems, and we've got the Witch Hunt.
Yeah, but Witch Hunt, I guess we'd just have to do it all post-game, because Witch Hunt is post-game.
Yeah, and the What If Darkspawn chapter.
I didn't do that one.
Yeah, fair enough.
I also don't really count it as story, because it's not.
Oh, yeah, because it didn't happen.
You don't learn anything new from it. It's just a fun what if evil mode.
Yeah, I think the only thing you do learn from it is what Alistair would have done if you weren't there.
Fucking die.
Yeah. like literally to a jobber.
And yeah, we're not going to do Liliana DLC because it's just not related to Origins at all. It's basically a prologue for Liliana.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're going to move to the Mage's Tower, which requires us going to Lake Callahan. Sorry, Callahan.
Yeah. This is also the place where I got the conversation with Sten about the cookies.
Yeah, you mentioned.
Yeah, which I think this is literally like a kid outside Lake Callahan where the child had these sweet little baked things. He was fat and did not need them.
But yeah, there's not actually a lot to do here at the docks itself. You got to secure passage, which doesn't take a lot because you just say you're a Grey Warden, and the guy's like, oh fuck, all right. There are some quests that require coming here later, namely, I believe, Sten's companion quest.
Yeah, the sword is somewhere around in the village outside Calenhad docks, isn't it?
No, you find... I will take you through the steps of the quest now. You come here because this was the site of the battle. When you know that it's the site of the battle, you see I believe you see the corpses of his fellow warriors, and because the guy who was looking through the corpses was sold the plot, and he just goes, no, there's nothing here. What are you looking for? A sword, big sword like this. And it's like, why do you want that? And Sten just steps forward and goes, it's mine. He reveals that he sold it to a chap outside Orzammar. You go outside Orzammar, you talk to the chap. Sten just succeeds the intimidation roll for you, and and he says, oh, I sold it to this dwarf who lives in Redcliffe, and that's a character that we'll meet later.
Yeah. But yeah, there's you get a bunch of things that are like just little side quests outside, like dispose of a blood mage cable.
Oh Cabal, I think that is.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm just reading it off TV tropes, and yeah, it says cable. Yeah, a cabal in the Brazilian forest.
Yeah, so
deep mushrooms to the Mages Collective.
Yeah, you've got these side quests that show up throughout the game, and they've got representatives in pretty much every area. You've got the mercenary clan that you kind of become a part of, but not really. They've got some real physical quests, and then you've got the Mage Enclave, I believe they're called, where they give you a bunch of missions to help mages that aren't associated with the tower, and you can just say, so apostates, and he went, oh, no, they followed the rules, they just don't want to be left alone.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got some real basic bitch quests like collect 10 deep mushrooms, and you got others where it's like intercept this group that found a mage in the woods and are reporting into Templars, and if you fuck up the charisma check, then you have to fight them.
Yeah, and finding some mystical places around the world.
Yeah, I believe that one ends up with you summoning a fucking Revenant.
Yeah. Is that the one that's the secret Revenant? Or is it just a Revenant?
It doesn't have a name or anything.
Okay, because there is one that's got a name. It's something like Gaxkang.
Maybe it does have it's been a long time. I just remember there's a quest where you have to go to these mystic spots, and then once you've gone to them, it's like, now go to this final one, and then a Revenant spawns and you have to kill it.
Yeah.
Because it's a fucking Revenant.
But yeah, once you get into the tower, you're at the base of the tower, and there are a couple of Templars there.
Yeah, the only important one at this point is Gregor.
Yeah, Gregor is downstairs, and Colin is upstairs.
Yeah, we'll get to Cullen a bit later. Yeah, Gregor just straight up goes, shit's fucked. I've sent a messenger to Dennering, and we're going to invoke the right of annulment, because like there's just demons in there. I'm not sending any more guys in there, because I've lost too many. And then you just go, I can go in and help. And he's like, can you?
Yeah. Yeah, because apparently he doesn't dislike Irving, but... yeah, he's very focused on doing his job, and as far as he's concerned, his job is making sure that no demons escape at any cost.
Like, again, it's one of the biggest flaws with the whole fucking tower concept, where it's like, yeah, you've got all the mages contained in one place, so they're easier to keep a watch over, I suppose, but you've also got all the mages in one place, so when rot spreads, it fucking spreads quick.
Yeah. Like, if one of them goes bad, then the rest of them have a very simple choice to make. Do I die, or do I give in to blood magic?
Or do I die later?
Yeah. Well, that's just giving into blood magic, isn't it?
Well, they've got that really weird... Well, I say weird line. Varric has a great line in Dragon Age 2 as you're going into the final chapter where the Mage and Templar conflict is really starting to boil over, where he just goes, the tighter Meredith screezed, the harder the mages fought, and the harder the mages fought, the tighter Meredith screezed. It's an endless cycle.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I think Dragon Age Origins does the truly worst case scenario where everyone involved does everything right.
Yeah, and it still goes to shit.
Yeah, Irving does his best. He expels a blood mage early on if you do the mage origin. There is a zero tolerance policy on blood magic in this tower. Yeah.
Like, Irving is one of the better examples of a head of a tower that we see.
Yeah, because he goes to bat for everyone, unless he knows you fucked up.
Yeah.
I think one of his worst traits is that he still does partake in the pettiness between Templars and mages. He just does it in really fucking shitty ways. Because when you dob
Yeah.
dob your mate in as a mage, the reason why he doesn't want you to immediately expel your mate, I've forgotten his name. What's his name?
Jowan.
Jowan, that's the one. When you grass him up to Irving just goes, okay, well, I've also been doing some digging and I know there's an initiate helping him. So if we're going to lose a mage, they're going to lose an initiate. Make sure you find some end of evidence on these two. And it's like, okie dokie. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the whole reason why you're doing that. And the annoying thing is even when you do it with Irving, Gregor fucking hates you.
Yeah, man. Gregor hates pretty much everyone.
He does, but you can't hate without caring.
Yeah. So the first real character that matters that you come across is Wynn.
Yeah, Wynn is the fucking MVP.
Yeah, she's basically here to join you and help you and be good. And basically to replace Morrigan, unless you have her alongside Morrigan at the same time, which also gives you some good dialogue options.
I like having two mages in the party, but if you're one of the mages, it's kind of a bit shit.
Yeah, because you don't have Wynn and Morrigan sassing each other.
Yeah, and like, unless you're a rogue, your only rogue is going to be Leniana for a while.
Yeah.
Which makes her a lock.
True enough.
Well, if you don't have a rogue, you can't pick the locks on chests and doors, which means you can potentially lose quite a bit of good loot. Because in Dragon Age Origins, at least, a lot of locked chests actually have good things in them.
Yeah, and you can't, if you break them, then it just breaks the items.
I don't remember being able to break chests in this game.
I might be thinking of KOTOR 2 then, my bad.
I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just saying I never did it, if you could.
Yeah, where you could just insert your lightsaber and get rubbish.
Well, that definitely wasn't in fucking...
Oh yeah, that definitely is not a Dragon Age thing, but yeah, like, I think they did. I think they had the same thing. I could be wrong. I apologize.
I don't think they do, because if you play Dragon Age and you click on a chest, or Dragon Age Origins that is, and click on a chest with a warrior, it just goes, shit's locked. There's no then option to try and smash it open or anything.
But then again, you could also like choose to upgrade certain things as your exploration skills. Most people pick persuasion because, you know, that's you get into conversations all the time.
I'm 95% sure you're wrong, Rick.
Sure, but I know intimidation was one, so you could have that, and that would work off of magic if you were an arcane warrior, because it worked off strength.
Yeah, that was actually really good because it meant a warrior didn't have to be dog shit in conversation encounters.
Yeah, you could just growl at people. Get away with it half the time.
Fucking works for Sten.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get Wynn. Wynn is pretty much a compulsory companion for this part of the game.
Yeah, if you are choosing to do the rite of annulment, Wynn goes no, and then you have to fight her and kill her. But nobody does that, so...
Oh, yeah, don't you worry. I'm sure if we had a mutual friend of ours on the podcast, he'd be like, yeah, I did it, because ha 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 ha. And it's like, yeah, we get it, you're an edgelord, go away.
Yeah, because I want fewer companions.
It's one of those where, like, you know the person I'm talking about without me having to name them, and I'm not going to name them, but you know who I'm talking about. This is the person who goes, oh, I like to do the descend the world into darkness ending and then kill the firekeeper after, and it's like, the only conversation you can have there is like, yeah, we get it, you're an edgelord. Let's move on with the conversation. Because that's all he wants, is he wants to be referred, he wants people to know, like, yeah, look at me, I'm edgy. It's like, yeah, okay, we get it.
Yeah.
As I'm sure people listening to this part of the podcast are like, yeah, we get it. You don't like the fact this guy's an edgelord, let's move on.
Man, when you pick the same ending in Dark Souls 3 as Edward Emberpants, you know there's something wrong with you. But yes, you pick Wynn up. The first little bit is just walking around the bottom of the tower, where you get to meet the Tranquil guy.
Yeah, this conversation is both hilarious and sad. If you weren't a mage origin, this will be your first real interaction with a Tranquil, and you'll have Wynn in your party more likely than not. And Owain will just be like, I didn't know what to do, and Wynn just goes, Owain, I would have opened a door for you.
Yeah, you poor dear. And like you said, I didn't think to knock, so I just went back to doing my job.
And like, here's the thing, right? Is I know Tranquil aren't autistic, but boy, does it feel that that's what they're going for.
Yeah, it feels like that's the shortcut to portraying Tranquil, is just to rely on some autism tropes.
Well, because like Owain is just like, I know this room is safe, and this room is what I know best, so this is where I went to.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think they handle it negatively. I just think it's a bit fucked up that they're putting autistic traits on. This is a person that has no emotions at all.
Yeah, and also you can turn someone into it, and there's a cure for it as well.
Yeah, okay, so we should probably explain tranquility, because I don't think we lingered on this during the origin, where effectively when you're made tranquil, it cuts you off from your magical powers by cutting you off from the Fade, which cuts you off from dreams, and therefore your emotions as well.
Yeah, which, for some reason, dwarves are immune to the emotion part.
That's because they don't go to the Fade when they dream.
Yeah.
Or rather, they don't dream.
They don't dream. Yeah, they don't dream. Yeah, dwarves don't dream, they don't go to the Fade. They're not connected to the Fade in any way, but they're still allowed to have emotions. Whereas humans and elves who used to have emotions and used to be connected to the Fade, they just lose that completely when they're cut off.
Yeah. I'm sure here's the thing, is unless you read every single codex entry as it pops up, you're not going to know everything about Dragon Age, and I sure as shit didn't do that.
Yeah.
I believe the dreaming thing has got something to do with their stone sense.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. They've also got their own different fucking religion that's never dived into too much.
Yeah, like everyone returns to the stone and all that, and they also believe that like you fall into the sky if there's no rock above you.
No, they don't believe that. It's just if you've lived underground with a ceiling above you all time, the first time you step out, it feels weird.
Yeah.
You know.
There's so much sky. How do you not fall into it?
Like, we get that with Oghren, with his first step, and he's just like, whoa, but that also might be partially because he's hungover.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a bunch of books around here, and these are where you get a bunch of jibes from Oregon going, oh yes, look at all this wisdom kept away here. Why couldn't they just learn things from scratch like I did? And Wynn just goes, yeah, shut up, Morrigan.
So on this first floor, you can also do a bunch of puzzles which involve summoning sciences. I think the quest is called Summoning Sciences.
Yeah.
I don't remember you getting anything good from doing this, but it is something you can do.
Yeah, the Litany of Adrala, is it something that they have to give it, is it?
Litany of Adrana? What? No.
Yeah, a scroll chant to protect... Oh, yeah, it's to protect the user from mind-controlling blood magic.
If you do the third exercise, because I noted this down, you get the charged mitts, which is gloves for a mage. I can't remember what that does. It either increases fire damage or decreases fire damage.
Increases outgoing or decreases incoming.
I think it increases outgoing, because my logic being that if they're gloves and you hold your staff with your gloves, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I get you. And it's the charged mitts, not the insulating mitts.
Yeah.
Sure.
Shall we go to the second floor? Oh, second floor is where Owain is.
Yeah, this is where we are. This is where, and then the third floor is when you get to the Bewitched Templar.
Yeah, I don't like this. There's no winning in this scenario because he's already bewitched. If you say fine, you can take him and you can go, he's still bewitched and being used by this demon. If you say anything else, you then have to fight the demon and the possessed Templar, because they're succubi in my brain, but they're not. They're desire demons, as you say. Puts on a voice and says, "Darling, there's bandits!" And he just goes, "The children!" So he thinks he's defending his home, and it sucks.
Yeah. There's no winning here, so you might as well let the demon have what she wants, because at least the guy lives that way.
Yeah, but then the demon's going to do it again.
True, I guess.
There's no right option, you know? I tend to just let them go, because I'm like, fine, fuck it. And in hindsight, with the way demons work, they aren't necessarily entirely evil. There might be a chance that she's satisfied with this one Templar, but I doubt it.
Yeah, like, best case scenario for both of them is that she's satisfied enough and likes him enough that she just keeps him alive enough to keep draining him.
It's not a good end.
Rather than moving on to the next one, but by the same token, he lives that life in bliss.
Yeah, and this is the old fucking holodeck inquiry, isn't it?
Yeah, cleaning up spooge from the holodeck.
That's not what I meant. I meant literally, it's like, is it okay to let someone live their entire life in the holodeck because it's not real, but they think it's real, but they're wasting away into nothing. Yeah. It's a moral conundrum that doesn't technically have a correct answer, because everyone's going to have a different opinion on it.
Yeah, and so we both essentially chose to let the succubus go, more or less.
I let the desire demon go, partly because I'm like, this is a video game.
Yeah.
And this doesn't actually reflect on me morally as a person. The other part is, like, you fight a lot of shit up until this point, and I'm kind of like, I'm tired and I want another fight.
But yeah, that's the thing. There's not real much karma in this game. It's all just like whether your companions approve.
I don't think anyone disapproves either choice.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those where it's just like, what are your morals as a human being?
Next up, we come to the next floor. That's the beginning of the Templar quarters and the unique abomination.
A unique abomination?
Oh wait, no, that is the...
Like, we appear to have skipped the third floor, Rick, because the Desired Demon's on the fourth.
Okay, so one of the devisors, Templar allies...
Are you just reading TV tropes for this?
Yeah, I am, because it's got a pretty good recap.
Yeah, so floor 3, there's not really anything going on. It's a lot more fights. There's no real... quest in this. You can loot a lot of shit, but you know, the stuff you loot is pretty much explicitly for mage characters and fuck all else.
Yeah, the unique abomination is at the end of the fourth floor that wants you to... It's tired of fighting, wants you to lie down, and then you do.
It's the thing that puts you in the fade. Let's get through third floor and then we can talk about the fourth floor.
Sure.
But yeah, as I said, there's not much going on in the third floor. It's just a lot of enemies. I believe the third floor has, if you touch this thing that you shouldn't touch, it summons a revenant.
Yep, sounds about right. And some additional tranquil mages.
There's a lot of things in this game. I say a lot of things. Like, in every area except for Orzammar, there is just random shit that you should not touch.
Yeah, you get trained both to touch everything because that's how you get loot, and also not to touch anything because that's how you get encounters.
Yeah, like, I think the Revenant in the Brazilian Forest... Is it Brazilian Forest?
Yeah, that is a place.
Yeah, I that one is the one that kicked my ass the most, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, you got that. I believe this third floor is where you could have completed a quest earlier on, optionally, where you helped that woman get clear out a bunch of giant spiders from the library.
Okay.
And yeah, there's more torn pages that you pick up. If you pick up all the torn pages, you get to do the quest 5 pages, 4 mages.
Okay.
It triggers that random encounter where you get basically a snake oil salesman saying,
right,
I've got this weird exclusive thing, one of a kind. And if you did this quest, you got the option to say, not that rare actually, I've got 5 copies. And the person you're talking goes, right, die! And you have to do a fucking battle encounter, and I believe you get some pretty decent robes from it.
Yeah, you must die.
Oh, jeez, it really is. Bandits aren't that clever, guys.
No, they're not.
But yeah, let's go to the fourth floor. Oh, go on, you were going to say something?
I've got 5 of these. You must die.
So yeah, that's good.
I just love that.
Yeah, it's a good joke. It's a good joke. The Game Grumps definitely didn't fucking make it into the ground. But yeah, on to the next floor, the fourth floor. We talked about the Desire Demon. After the Desire Demon, you pretty much straight go into the encounter with that demon, which is in fact a sloth demon. It makes you all fall asleep. And we get to the worst part of the game.
Oh, yes. And the worst part is that you have to do it all for the best rewards.
Yeah, so that's what makes it... If you didn't have to do every... In this game, you've got the stat system from D&D, more or less. In the Fade, you can get 2 stat points in every single stat if you do all the bullshit side puzzles, which makes them compulsory.
Yeah. And it also makes your main character, like, the best character.
Well, yes, of course, because it goes onto your main character. It literally can't go onto anyone else because you don't have any party members for this segment. They only rejoin you for the final fight. Yeah,
like, even if you find them, they just go on pause until the finale.
Yeah, Alistair's is probably the funniest, because when he fucks off back to the Enterprise, he just goes, wait, what? Where are you going? But yeah, we're not going to talk about the puzzles and the solutions to the puzzles. Look up an FAQ or something, or better yet, download that mod if you're playing on PC that just lets you skip this segment entirely.
Yeah.
Is it cheating? Yes. Do I give a fuck? No.
No. Done it once. Taken my lumps.
Oh, okay. I've actually got a list here. It's better than 2 stats. Level ups in each stat. So you can get 5 points of cunning, 4 points of strength, 4 points of willpower, 4 points of dexterity, 2 points of constitution, and 2 points of magic. That is a total of 21 points of stats.
I thought it was more than that in magic. Like, oh well.
I think the logic being that because if you're all... I think magic's just a busted stat and they didn't want to give you too much of it.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, you've got a lot of sections. You start off in... I want to say it's called Wizen Weissenhaft.
Oh yeah, Weishaupt.
Yeah, where you've got a bunch of Grey Wardens standing around and being pricks, and then you've got Duncan at the end of the hall, and you're like, oh, Duncan, you're dead. And Duncan's like, me dead? As if a Darkspawn could kill me. It's like, yeah, but they did, because there was 100 of them.
Yeah, there was like 31,000 of them, and
like the beginnings of a blight, one might say.
Yeah. Do you know what Weishaupt means?
Go on.
White mane, but not a lion's mane, like the main event or the main course.
Oh, fair enough. I assumed that the Weiss part was white. I assumed the second part would have been Hall. So, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's I only know that because of German. It's not even written down anywhere. I just know it.
It's one of those.
But then again, I also dismantle German sometimes in the wrong way. Like, for the first time I encountered Spiegelei, which means fried egg, I was like, okay, that must mean Spiegel means fried. And then I encountered Spiegelbild, which is reflection or mirror, and I was like, oh, that must mean fried picture.
Okay.
So yeah,
German's one of those funny languages because English in particular has a lot of Germanic. I mean, English has got roots in like 5 different languages. That's why they call our language a bastard language. But a lot of it is anglicized German, where I believe the joke is German, the language, is just a more efficient English.
Yes.
And it's why we can do it a bit with French, where you can guess certain words based on how they're spelt and pronounced. With German, about 75% of their language you can pass if you speak English.
Yeah, and if you know the rules, you can look at a German word and immediately pronounce it.
What is it, fucking, what do you call an ambulance? And it's like a Kaufstragen, which means death wagon or something.
Oh no, Krankenwagen. It's like ill car.
Oh, okay, yeah. I absolutely adore that video of the 2 women speaking. It's like we call it an ambulance, and they're just pissing themselves laughing as they say the German word.
Krankenwagen.
You know the one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
And like everyone like says the word for butterfly, and then in German it's like Schmetterling.
Yeah, I mean the English do it too, because we got like, what do you call this? Bibliotheca, library.
Yeah, and ananas, pineapple.
Yeah. Sorry, America, you got that from us.
Yep.
Yeah, anyway, we're here to talk about Dragon Age. You talk to Duncan, you very quickly suss that you're in the Fade. You suss it really quickly if you're a mage.
Yeah. Stopping to rest doesn't sound like something Duncan or the Grey Wardens would do.
Yep.
And Duncan gets mad that you're denying his peace offer, and then you have a fight.
But, like, it's such a true point, though, because there is no retirement for Grey Wardens.
Yeah.
Like, if you're
like,
retired...
You don't know this properly until later, but yeah.
Yeah, but, like, there's certainly not retirement for someone who's fit and in their prime.
Yeah. Like, you don't hear about the calling until quite a lot later.
Yeah, but, like, even so, if you're old and decrepit and you haven't hit the calling yet, they'll get you at their place, but you'll still be working.
Yeah.
You'll be doing, like, record keeping and whatnot. But, yeah, we're going to blitz through the Fade because most of the Fade is just not a good time. So, the crux of it is, first of all, you're fighting solo, which isn't a big deal because a lot of the encounters is like a freeway encounter.
Yeah, and you get your little transformations as well as you go, don't you?
Yes, some of these are just really good to have in a fight. I believe you get an ogre transformation.
Yeah.
But I really like the transformation mechanic. It was fun, and it was a real cool way to do puzzles. I wish it wasn't compulsory.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, this feels like how Morrigan's beast transformations could have been, but they had to make them shit. Otherwise, everyone would only ever use Morrigan for everything.
Oh, yeah. I mean, her fucking transformation into, like, 1,000 bugs is pretty good.
Yeah, the Cloud of Bees, like, not least because it's fast.
Yeah, and in most RPGs, turn-based things, speed is king.
Yeah, like, triple-hasted bees, just king of exploration. And the rest of your party just, like, path finds to where you ended up. It's so good for the deep roads where there's just so much nothing.
Yeah, but I kind of like that. I prefer that to this.
Sure.
But anyway, I digress. Let's talk about the individual dreams, shall we? Because that's by far the most interesting plot part of the Fade.
Yeah.
So I don't know who you want to start with. Shall we start with Alistair?
Yeah, sure, why not?
So again, I'm doing this based off memory, so if I'm wrong, please correct me. I believe Alistair is just chilling with what he believes is his fantasized, put on a pedestal version of his sister and her family.
Yeah, Goldana.
Yeah, which, if you haven't gotten... If this is the first thing you're doing, this is probably the first time you're seeing any reference to Alistair having a family.
Yeah.
And if this is your first interaction with it, you're just like, oh shit, Alistair's got a really nice family. And the truth is actually really shitty.
Yeah, it's the opposite, yeah. Dog is the easiest one to do. You just go, you touch him, and he's like, wakes up, barks, and disappears.
Yep, I think Sten's is the saddest, because you go to Sten, and Sten's just chilling with his two Kunari buddies, and he's like, what are you doing, Sten? It's like, nothing, is it Kadan, or whatever means friend.
Yeah.
And it's just so heartbreaking, because one of the lines is, this isn't real, right? And Sten just goes, I know. Sten doesn't care. Sten doesn't care. But he snaps out of it, but he just wanted another few moments, because they're dead, and he knows they're dead, and he can't do this anymore.
Yeah. Ogren's
just fucking...
the first time he's been in a dream.
Yeah, it is, and he doesn't understand. When you tell him it's a dream, he just goes, I don't know what that is. And he's just getting pissed up at a bar.
Yeah, and then the other dwarves become demons and attack him, and then you fight them, and that frees him.
Yeah, and then I believe Ogren says, that's not the weirdest things that's happened to me while drunk.
Yep. Morrigan is talking to a weirdly supportive Flemeth.
Yeah, and in fact, like, Morrigan already knows it's not really Flemeth and that it's clearly a demon. And she's just, when you show up, she's like, finally. And when she threatens
finally a person. Yeah.
And when she threatens to Neve, Flemeth goes, starts being really nasty. And it's just great because Morrigan just goes, you see, that's better. That's what Flemeth's like.
Yeah, if you'd opened with that, I might have believed you.
Oh, yeah. And when Morrigan gets teleported away, she just goes, oh, not again.
Liliana gets a sign from the revered mother.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember Liliana's at all.
Yeah. She wants to stay with the Chantry because she's praying before the revered mother. She thinks the revered mother is giving her a sign from the Maker, and then you fight and free her. Shale.
Oh, she's just a statue again.
Yeah, she's a statue again. When the player approaches, she unfreezes. Remains confused.
Oh no! You're not doing this justice. I appreciate you're reading this off of a website to try and refresh your memory, but no, it's way cooler than that, because you approach Shale and there's like 3 dialogue options you have to pick. Where you're like, Shale, you okay? Shale, what's going on? Shale, come on. And then the last one is just like, Shale, you've snapped out of this once before. Do it again. And that's when she just breaks out, and it's so fucking cool.
Yeah. Last one's Wynn and Zevran.
I can't remember Wynn's.
So Wynn is in grief about several dead mages on the ground.
Okay, yeah, I now remember this, and in hindsight, it's so weird how this fucking tricked Wynn.
Yeah, so when you tell her that she's in a dream, they stand up and beg her to stay.
Yeah, but like when you first tell her that she's in a dream, she just goes, can't you see what's in front of your eyes? And it's like, Wynn, you're a fucking mage.
Yeah.
And it's like, this scene made me kind of go like, Morrigan's got a point. Fucking circle mages are dumb.
Yeah. Zevran has a dream island with a torture test to become a full-fledged Antivan Crow's assassin.
Yeah, which is very odd, isn't it? Because, like, by all accounts, he didn't really want to be a crow because he didn't exactly have a choice in the matter.
Yeah.
But then again, I suppose it's one of those where failure means death. So
yeah, and you kind of go back. You just kind of fall back on the things that you know, really, don't you? When you go to things like. Just dreams in general are just weird ways of remixing what you already know, plus sometimes giving you something really creative.
So have you ever heard of something called the Tetris effect?
Go ahead.
The Tetris effect is this thing where, effectively, if you play a game for too long and if you've got a certain brain chemistry, you can't sleep very well because you're imagining shit vividly from the game that you've been playing.
Right.
I get that in a very minor degree, not to the extent that it's written up as, because I'm like, fuck that, because you got some people that get Tetris effect that will just see the game while they're doing other things. Like,
yeah.
And it's called the Tetris effect because guess what? The first time it was documented, it was Tetris that was responsible. So yeah, it's one of those where dreams fucking suck, especially when they take elements like that. Like I had a dream last night, and I don't dream very often, or rather I don't remember dreams very well. I remember this one because it was weird. Now, you remember I was telling you I've been playing TCG Game Shop Simulator?
Yeah, the card shop simulator, yeah.
Yeah, so I was in that, except we were in a desert. I don't know why we were in a desert, and there was people I knew coming to my game shop, and they had the green smell.
Okay.
it was just so baffling. Why does your brain do this? And that's less baffling than going to this moment in time that's clearly a traumatic memory.
Yeah, so you're like, your shop is like in the middle of a desert, like in Henry Stickmin or whatever. People are somehow walking in.
But it was on top of a sand dune. As soon as I went outside to fetch a box of cards, I fell down the dune. And then I was like, how the fuck am I going to get back up? And then I was just back in the shop.
Yep. And you respawned.
And it's so weird, because some of the people that were in there were people I've met once. Like, there's a person in our D&D group that I met for the first time during that getaway. They were there. I'm not saying names because I don't want to name them.
Yeah, okay.
And then, so was the other person from our D&D group, from that group of people. You weren't there. The two people I hang out with regularly here weren't there. There was people from college there.
Yep.
Such a weird array of people coming to my game shop in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, weird people, neither the twain shall meet.
Jesus Christ, man. I will say, again, this Fade arc as a concept I enjoy, so much so that as a dungeon master, I've used this trick at least twice.
Yeah, like, I remember trying to interpret the signs in the Warhammer version of this, and we still didn't know how to get past the dead party member.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Yeah, shame. However, the dead NPC suddenly having a voice and thanking us, that was rather touching.
Yeah, he died because of you guys.
Oh, he died because he rolled a 2, like, twice, and died.
Well, yeah. Like, if I remember rightly, he only tagged along with you guys because he brutally murder 2 guys in the tournament section, and then he got kicked out, and then he just happened to tag along when you guys went on a proper quest.
Yeah, he basically got told, yeah, you can't stay in this town anymore because he did a lot of murders. Because he was told, fight to submission, and he just went straight for the neck twice.
No, it was dumber than that, because...
Oh, he was bludgeoning, so yeah, he like spun someone's jaw and they died.
Yeah, he didn't know how to pull his punches.
Yeah.
And also, I didn't need to make a voice for him because he couldn't talk.
Yeah, he was tongueless, like Horace the Hushed.
But yeah, anyway, we've got a sloth demon fight.
Yeah, the sloth demon is like the capstone of the Fade bit, and then you get let out.
Okay, don't just fucking gloss over it. It's a cool fight.
Yeah, the sloth demon. That's the bear, innit?
They usually take the form of a bear in the in Origins. I don't think we've actually seen them in 2 and Inquisition.
Yeah, they use the demon bear, the Barascan, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bear with a bunch of spikes sticking out of it. However, this one's cool. This boss fight. So you know all those forms you had to take for the puzzles and shit.
Yeah, it goes through all of them, doesn't it?
It doesn't go through all of them, but it goes through the interesting ones, because it starts off as an ogre, and then it goes into the spirit form, and then it goes into a rage demon first. I knew I was missing one. So it goes from ogre to rage demon to shriek, which is basically the spirit form that you take.
Yeah.
So effectively, the offensive transformations that you get for the Fade, it goes through.
Yeah, not rat.
Yeah, because that would be a bit shit. So yeah, the cool thing, the thing that makes this fight a bit more trivial than not at all, is that throughout the Fade you get these lyrium veins, which just instantly restore your magic to full, which means your mages in this fight will have an incredibly easy time.
Yes.
But yeah, once you beat him, he dies in the Fade, so he dies in real life, and you get kicked out of the Fade. Do you talk with the rebel guy before or after you do the fight?
Is that Niall?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of like before the fight and then after the fight. After the fight, he accepts that he's died. And that's what lets you out.
Right,
and then then you stood with his body, because the original sloth demon in the real world had been born essentially from Niall's corpse.
That doesn't make any sense.
It was weird.
Like, if it was anything other than a sloth demon, it would make sense. But by all counts, Niall was trying.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. You talk to him and you tell him you can confirm to him that yes, he is in fact dead in the real world, and he's like, "Fuck, we failed." And it's like, "But don't worry, I got the thing." He went, "Oh, not all hope is lost then." And if I remember rightly, you can talk to Irving at the end and let him know that Niall was a G. Yeah.
So once you've done this, then the Litany of Adrala appears on his corpse, and then you can loot it off him, and that's what lets you defend against the mind control blood magic in the finale.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, actually, I believe Niall is one of the people you can talk to in the Mage Origin. Okay. I think he's the one who explains the different sects of Magi. Like,
yeah.
I distinctly, it might not be him, but one of them is like the libertarians think we should just find an island somewhere and live there. And I'm
Yeah.
As an older person now, looking back, I'm like, yeah, that is kind of what libertarians think is the best, isn't it?
Yeah, we should just like colonize Hawaii.
We demand one of the Dakotas.
Oh boy. And then you come across Cullen, who's been like super imprisoned by a bunch of demon illusions.
Yeah, so he doesn't believe you're real when you first appear, and you can't blame the guy.
Yeah, he has a bit of Liara syndrome, doesn't he?
Not
like he thinks you're like a hallucination or a demon or something.
Yeah, that's not Liara syndrome. That's the fact that he's been in this fucking cage thing for who knows how long, with demons constantly taunting and trying to tempt him.
Yeah.
So again, that's why I'm saying you can't blame him. Leliana's just a fucking whack job, but
yeah. If you're a mage origin, he'll recognize you. However, it's probably not the first time that you've popped up to him in here. If you are a mage, because he probably knows you, and if you're a female mage, then he admits to always having had a crush on you.
Yeah, but Cullen's a real fucking Cullen is a fresh Templar at this point. I'm not surprised that he's a horn dog.
Oh yeah. Incel Cullen.
Well, it's also like, yeah, but how fucked is it to have a relationship between a Templar and a mage in these circumstances?
Oh, yeah.
That is such a power imbalance.
Yeah, it's some real, not Streisand effect, Stockholm Syndrome.
That's not real. No, I'm telling you, it's not real. It was made up.
Okay.
And it bugs me, because every time I tell people that, they're like, you're talking shit. And I'm like, see, it's like the fucking wolves again. Like, where the guy who did the study of wolves, and there has to be an alpha, like, has done multiple studies since that has proven that first study as bollocks, because the first study is false already, because it was a bunch of wolves from different packs.
Yeah.
In an actual wolf society, there is a person in charge of the pack. It's the fucking oldest male.
It's the oldest, not the strongest.
Fuck's sake. Anyway, I digress. It's just like, there's all these fucking things that if you get taught something when you were 10 and no one corrects you on it until you're 25, who are you gonna believe?
Yeah. Like,
gonna believe the person who gave you a cookie when they said, yes, that's right, thanks for parroting the information.
Yeah, pat you on the head, give you a biscuit. Yeah, that's, I mean, oh man, you just explained, like, religious dogma. To be honest, right there.
Well, okay, it's funny
you believe it because you were told it when you were 6, and you got a biscuit for repeating it.
Well, it's funny that you should say that, because one of the reasons why I make that joke is because it's a bit of an offshoot from something, a joke Bill Burr made ages ago, where, you remember a show called Duck Dynasty?
I've never watched it, but I remember hearing about it.
Yeah, so there's a guy in that who's old as fuck, who made a new type of duck whistle, and that's why his family got fucking rich, more or less, because they own the patent. Anyone who sells this, makes a version of it, needs to give him money, more or less. I digress.
Sure.
This guy went on a rant saying about, he was asked about his opinions on gay people, and he went on a horrible rant about gay people, about how it would lead to this, and this, and this is where we jump to Bill Burr, where he goes, a bunch of people say, I can't believe he said that, and then cut to Bill Burr going, really? You couldn't believe he said that? A guy from the south of America who's in his 70s?
Yeah. It's not even him saying it. It's the fact that he's repeating something that he was told from someone who was old back then.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the reason why he says that is because when he was a kid, he would go to church, and you parrot what the church people say, and you get told you're a good boy, and you get a big tick. And now suddenly he's 70 years old, and he's repeated the thing that he's repeated for 70 years, and everyone goes boo, and he doesn't understand why.
Yep.
Because these places that teach you don't teach you to think for yourself. They teach you to parrot what they say, and then you get a sticker and a good job, which works wonders when you're 6.
Yes. They teach you not to bother reading the whole thing, because you're getting told the cliff notes, and if you believe the cliff notes, then you've got a simple version of it which you can understand when you're small.
And again, I'm not having a go at this Duck Dynasty guy. I don't particularly care. It makes sense from his background that he would think that sort of thing. I'm having a go at the church.
Oh, yeah.
And not even every single church, specifically American churches that focus a lot on these gay bad things.
Yeah, like the same thing that's said in the same book as don't eat pork, don't eat shrimp, don't mix leather with synthetic fibers.
Dude, it's just don't mix fibers, I believe. But yeah, the funniest joke ever is, I say ever, one of the most amusing jokes is, I've forgotten his name, Jim Jeffries, he talks about God at a dinner party, and I won't give you the whole joke, but the bit that because you're saying the shrimp thing, It's like, you can't let homosexuals be married. I mentioned that twice in my book. We're gonna forget about the shrimp thing, which I mentioned 6 times, because people seem to really like shrimp.
Yeah. Fridges have been invented since then, therefore the shrimp thing is no longer canon.
Well, that's just it. There's a lot of things in, especially the Old Testament, which is, the reason why it's written down is, we need people to be clean and we need people not to eat certain things because that carries disease and it will kill you.
Yeah, it's allegories for clean living in the desert without fridges.
Yeah.
And it's only, like, relatively recently that parasitic worms have been eradicated from pork.
They haven't even been eradicated. Cooking's just gotten smarter.
Yeah, sure, fair enough.
It's one of those where, like, in certain countries, you still get people getting worms from eating pork because they don't cook it properly.
In other countries, it's been eradicated in the West. Meanwhile, bears still give parasitic worms. So if you undercook bear, you're probably going to end up wormed.
But it's also that case of, hey, if you take down a bear, good fucking job.
Yeah.
Man, that's the second completely fucking divergent rant we've been on today on this Dragon Age episode. Shall we return to the world of magic?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I brought it back to bears, which the Berescan is, but yes.
That is such a loose pool at best.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Cullen, because we're not going to advance just yet, because Cullen implores you, practically begs you, that when you get down to the bottom of the tower, tell Gregor to go through the annulment.
Oh, yeah. Because he doesn't know that Irving is still resisting.
But it's also got to top on the fact that, again, we don't know how long this has been going on. It's safe to assume at least a couple of days. Cullen has had to see some evil fucking shit. And you can't blame him for wanting this. We as players know that his decision is morally questionable.
Yeah.
But if you put yourself in Cullen's shoes, you could totally understand where he's come from.
Yeah, like, it's one of those things where we really do have the player privilege. Like, we have not had to experience the awful stuff. So we can just, like, look at it objectively and go, yeah, but if we save the mages, then mages still exist.
I mean, mages do still exist, just not in Ferelden.
Yeah.
And that's a thing that Dragon Age Inquisition pretty much changed as well, because it's implied heavily in this first game that this mage circle is the only one in Ferelden. But in Inquisition, it's implied that there are several, and that this one is just the biggest. Yeah,
this was just the biggest and the best. And I'm guessing that you just get transported from one tower to the next if you end up, like Anders, escaping a little bit and then getting caught and having to go back.
I'm generally surprised they didn't make Anders tranquil, because it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I don't agree with that as a punishment, but in the lore of Dragon Age, it seems that mages they don't like will just be put through this process.
Well, the B-side of that is maybe they really liked him, and maybe they just use him as, like, training for new recruits. Okay, oh yeah, this is Anders, he does this. This is how you catch a mage.
Yeah, but it's not good training, because Anders makes it clear during your first meeting that he doesn't ever actually mean to harm Templars. Yeah,
which also makes it good. It also makes it good training that the other Templars don't die from.
But again, it's one of those where, is it really training if the person's not trying to kill you?
It's exactly training. It's not live fire training, but it's not very definitely training.
It's not training because it will teach you bad habits.
Sure. But yeah, next bit is you get to the top floor with Uldred.
Yeah, Uldred fucking sucks as a human.
Yeah, Uldred sucks as a human, but his boss fight looks really cool. He's like the closest thing we've got to, like, a demon prince in Dragon Age.
Well, sort of, but he just becomes a pride demon, and here's the thing: is this encounter has been retroactively cheapened.
Oh yeah, because other pride demons are better.
Well, other pride demons are better, and they're fucking 2 a penny in other games.
Yeah. He's
special.
the only one in this one. Yeah. He is the pride demon in this game.
Yeah. The fight's nothing to write home about. It's fine. He's got a fair few ads.
Yeah. And you pretty much have to use the Litany of Adrala to not get mind controlled.
Yeah.
I think you just do this in the cutscene, don't you?
You do it in the cutscene to show that you've got it and to show that you got to use it, but you still have to use it from time to time. I can't remember why.
Okay, because I guess he just has like a control effect or something.
Oh, I remember. Yeah. Okay. I've got a little blurb here that I wrote down. If you don't use the Litany of Adrala, then he can constantly resummon ads.
Right. Okay.
Because when he does a spell that basically makes makes more abominations from the mages in the fight, but the mages are obviously tied up and can't do anything, so they're just completely defenseless. So if you use that when you see him charging up that spell, you can prevent more abominations from joining.
Yeah.
This is genuinely just an endurance fight. Like, if you've got a tank worth their salt, and you should have a tank in your party at all times, this fight's not really a big deal.
Yeah, you are going to win.
Yeah. It's actually, from a boss fight perspective, I actually like having this as thinking of it as a bit of a victory lap, because the sloth demon fight is the fight with the fancy mechanics, and this one is just like, have you ever seen a fucking fight in a movie where it's just two people punching each other back and forth? Because that's basically this.
Yeah. You also get the chance to choose to kill Irving, but don't.
Yeah, if you kill Irving, that's just, you do just doom the tower, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Irving. Irving's fine. He's saying that the fight has become retroactively a bit crap because of future installments. Irving has just become a better first enchanter because of future installments.
Yeah, a historical hero upgrade.
Like, for real. I'm with you on this. I don't understand why anyone would kill Irving. I guess kill Irving if you want the Templars to go through with annulment, but I just don't think that's a good idea, full stop. Because if you've been paying attention, the mages that are left are the good ones.
Yes, literally all the good ones. Because the ones that are evil have joined Aldrin.
And Aldred.
Aldred, yeah.
But they also weren't necessarily evil. Some of them were just weak.
Yeah, so all the ones that are both good and high willpower are the ones that are left. So literally the best ones. And when Irving gives you the thing of, oh yeah, we'll donate 5 mages to the cause, and you're like, 5? And he's like, have you seen what 1 can do?
I'm pretty sure you get 12.
Oh yeah, it's like less than 100 and more than 1.
Yeah, but no one gives you...
But it's like a comically...
No one gives you 100.
Oh, yeah, but it's like a comically small number.
Yeah, it's a lot smaller than everyone else's donation. I think the next smallest is golems.
Yeah, because there aren't that many of them.
Well, because they got to make them fresh, and if having that knowledge just makes the decision even more evil.
Oh, yeah, it's awful. But yeah, with Irving, like, I do like how he does give you the justification of, yes, have you seen what 1 can do? Yes, they're going to be your prized unit. Mark my words.
And he's wrong, because the Daily Shells are much better.
I never used the Daily Shells because I always went with the werewolves because I thought werewolves are cool.
Oh, so you're evil?
Yes, I'm awful. It was even worse because I was an elven mage and I talked to Zevran, and Zevran was pissed off at me, and he goes like, did you not feel anything like slaughtering other elves? And I'm like, well, did you? And he goes, no, because I'm not from that group, but you should have.
Yeah, but like, Zevran can eat a dick because the amount of times he makes decisions for you or says you shouldn't do this, you should do this, and it's like, how about you suck a dick? Which he probably would, to be honest. But
oh, he definitely will. Yeah. In fact, he was my first accidental romance. It's
incredibly easy to accidentally romance Zevran. Okay, I got this. It's not easy to accidentally romance him. I just don't like making party members sad.
Yeah.
And if you say no to Zevran, he's the only one he's one of the few that makes you feel guilty about it.
Yeah, he's like, oh, but I wanted to suck your willy.
No, but the thing is if he falls in love with you, he doesn't want to have sex with you.
Yeah, okay.
Which is so fucking weird.
Yeah, I think a lot of them do that. Like Morrigan does have a lot of sex with you, and then after a while, she decides, no, I'm going to be a petulant cat, and we're not going to have sex for quite some time.
No, I mean, like, Zevran straight up is like, I don't like having sex with people I have feelings for. Which is fucking bullshit, because in 2, when he shows up, he loves having sex with Isabella, despite the fact that he clearly has a fondness of her.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, Zevran's dumb. I like him as a party member, but his romance route is silly.
I like the idea between Zevran and Isabella that they just trade a coin back and forth because they're both getting mates rates.
If you like. But yeah, anyway, when you finish the boss fight, you talk to Irving, you get instantly warped to the bottom of the tower. Thank you, BioWare, very cool. And you talk to Gregor. Cullen comes bursting into the scene and says we should destroy the tower, and Gregor's like, and you like look at Gregor, and Gregor's like, Irving's safe, the tower is restored, we don't need to destroy shit. And Cullen's like, rah, 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 and very quickly changes his tune by the time we get to Dragon Age 2.
Yes.
There is one more thing to do here. If you did certain things in the tower and collected certain pieces of paper, you can go down a floor from the original, from the ground floor, and it triggers a rage demon spawn, a unique one. I believe it has a name. Can't remember what you get for killing it, but I know it's a thing.
Yeah, there's Trickster Whim, apparently.
Is that what the rage demon's called?
Yeah, it's a demon called Trickster Whim, summons into the tower, and it escapes into the world.
No, you fight the one I'm talking about.
Okay, Usaurus? Oh, that's the sword. Weird.
You know what? It doesn't matter. Maybe you're right. Maybe it does escape into the world and you have a random encounter later with a rage demon. But it doesn't matter. Either way, I know there's a thing you do here and there's a rage demon. You either fight it here or you fight it later. Doesn't make a difference. It gives you a thing for killing it. I can't remember what it is, so it can't have been something I used. Yeah, you talk to Irving. Irving's like, yeah, the mages will help you because of this ancient treaty and not because you just saved our asses. And that's more or less the end of the Mage Tower. Truthfully, I don't see why you would go anywhere after this other than Redcliffe because it's right there.
Yeah, and also you have now secured one of the good endings to the Redcliffe story.
Well, yeah, but you don't know that in your first playthrough.
No, you just get stopped mid-Redcliffe to be told, yes, if you want to get a good ending, go somewhere else first.
Yeah, they tell you go to the Mage's Tower and then you have to do all this from scratch. So it makes sense to do the Mage's Tower first. If you haven't stepped foot in Redcliffe can't have a bad end. But once you step foot in Redcliffe, there's now a timer. But we will talk about that next episode when we go to Redcliffe. For now, let's do our usual rundown, shall we, Rick?
Yeah. So from the Mage's Tower and technically the recruitment of Shale, do you have a favourite moment?
Yeah, I hated it, but at the same time, I think it is the standout favourite moment of the Desire Demon encounter.
Okay.
You don't lose anything regardless of what decision you make.
Yeah. It's one of those really cool ways to make you think. And it's something that games tended not to do until now, that you don't have an out-and-out good or evil option.
Again, there's no repercussions. It just makes you think. And it's like, what are your own personal morality? What does that tell you?
Yeah. And it's one of those, you can tell a lot about a person by what they chose in a conversation that has no repercussions.
Yeah, for real. I suppose the repercussion is if you do this fight, you do get XP. And it is a video game, so if that's your logic, then that's fine. But yeah, I could see arguments being made for honestly either decision on moral grounds. Yeah. And it's still a tough decision to this day. I think one of the reasons why I usually go for letting them go is generally because I can't be arsed with the fight.
Oh yes, totally.
Because it's a non-trivial encounter. You got a high-level, a relatively high-level Templar and a Desire Demon. Yeah,
and things do scale to a degree, but like the earlier you do it, the harder it is because you have fewer options.
Sure. But yeah, anyway, what about you? What's your favourite moment?
Mine's going to be the party member dreams, and if we have to zone in on one, I'm going to go with Morrigan because it just encapsulates her personality in such a way that's not reliant on anyone else other than basically Flemeth.
I mean,
because most of what we know about Morrigan is from like her interactions with Alistair and calling him a pillock.
Yeah, that's valid. I enjoy Morrigan's encounter with Flemeth here. It does, and as you say, it gives us a lot of information onto the nature of their relationship. I firmly believe that their relationship isn't as bad as Morrigan's mind makes it out to be. Flemeth isn't a complete monster, although again, retroactively changed given what we know in Inquisition.
Yeah, like we know that she's Mythal now.
But we also know she was planning on taking over Morrigan.
Yeah.
In Origins, it's like, don't be silly, Morrigan. But then in Inquisition, it's like, no, Morrigan was entirely correct.
Yeah, not only was she entirely correct, but the other daughters that Flemeth has taken over all did this willingly because they all knew the implications of everything and like totally willingly gave over their bodies to let Mythal keep on going.
Yeah, she does reveal that you can't do this to anyone who's unwilling, so Morrigan was technically safe, but at the same time, we saw what levels of bargaining Morrigan was willing to stoop to for her kid.
Yeah, totally.
So it's one of those where, what's the definition of willing?
Yeah, like, is coercion willing? Yeah. But we can't always talk about the best stuff. What is going to be your weakest link from this time?
21 stat points.
Yeah, the fact that you have to do it all to get it all. Yeah.
Like, it's the first time you do this, it's fine because it's new. The third time you do this, you're like, is it worth it for 5 stat points? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But you don't want to.
Yep.
And also, like, the rooms that you're going through during these puzzles aren't interesting rooms. They're very generic and bland.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to piggyback off this because my weakest link is exactly the transformation segment, in that it could have been cool, and yes, you feel powerful, but it's just so long.
Yeah, every time you get a new transformation, it's like, oh, it's a rat. But then, like, you get the ogre for the first time and you smash it down. It's like, yeah, this is fun. You feel like a god, and you don't really do anything.
And then you can't go through doors.
And you don't really do anything interesting with it. That's the thing as well. Like, okay, you got puzzle these transformations at the end of the day are just solutions to puzzles.
Yeah. Like the rage demon is like, oh yeah, I'm made of fire. I can do fire things.
I don't remember. I don't think you actually become a rage demon. I think you become a skeleton with fire surrounding you.
Oh, a fire skeleton, yeah. I know there was a fire something.
Yeah. The sloth demon becomes a rage demon, and I suppose that's because a rage demon is a cooler design than this skelly bob with fire.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my weakest link. So what's going to be your MVP?
Yeah, I think my MVP award, even though he doesn't show up that much in the chapter itself, I'm going to give it to Irving.
Yeah. And because I was wanting to give it to him as well, I'm going to fall back on my number 2. So yeah, Irving, as you said earlier in this episode, has been retroactively upgraded to be an even better leader by comparison than he even portrays in this.
Like, compare him for like half a minute to Orsino.
Oh yeah.
It feels like Orsino wants to be Irving, and he tries his damnedest to be a model mage, as it were. It's like, this is the example I set. And now, granted, he has a much harder time of it because Meredith is a complete cunt. But
yeah.
At the end of the day, Orsino resorts to blood magic.
Yeah, and not only that, he just becomes, like, essentially a pride demon himself, doesn't he?
Not really. He's more like the one reborn from Bloodborne.
Yeah, he becomes some, like, kind of weird, like, blood magic abomination.
Yeah, because he doesn't just blood magic himself, he blood magics all of his loyal people in that final fight confrontation.
Yeah, they become an amalgam, yeah.
Yeah, and it's real shitty, you know?
Yeah, and they turn on you. Like, even if you were on their side, it's like, okay, there is something to fight now. Oh, man, fucking silly.
Like, at least when Meredith turns on you, it makes sense. Because when you're fighting for the Templars, you've got the decision several times to spare mages because they surrender, and you make that decision, and then when you come back out from confronting Orsino, Meredith's like, oh, that's cool, except you spared mages and we're doing an annulment, so you've got to die now, and it's like, that's a bit dumb, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
And, you know, even compare Irving to fucking Vivienne.
Oh, yeah, like, she's not even the high mage of that tower, but, like, yeah, she's very definitely a sample size representative of how Orlesian Circle works. That if you're a noble, you get treated like a god, and if you're not, then you might as well be a slave.
Get good at sucking dick, like Vivienne did.
Yeah.
Not to disparage sucking dick. Like, you can suck all the dicks you want, but that's what Vivienne did to get to such high standing.
Yeah.
Like,
you can smoke a pork cigar like a pro, and.
But, like, she plays the game, and part of playing the game was fucking dudes. She might have fucked some women as well. Like, they don't go into it, and that's fine.
Oh, yeah, they don't go into that. No.
It is what it is. But, yeah, Irving is just a fucking G in this. He resists temptation for a long time. And it's not even temptation. It's like he's being tortured. Now, I know this is a fantasy world, and it's so you don't need to play by realistic rules. But in reality, torture breaks a man incredibly quickly.
It does. Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't get good things out of you. All it does is break a person.
Yeah, like, but in this scenario, if someone was being tortured and it's like, join our side, or and the pain stops, most people will snap within 5 minutes.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Torture sucks. I've never been tortured.
Yep.
I'd like to keep it that way for the rest of my life.
Yeah, there's like a two-way street of it. Like, if you have, if they're threatening something that is part of your empathy, then that is possibly even more effective than the pain that they're doing. And both of them at once is, like, actually very taxing on a good person's mind.
Well, yeah, because that's just it. We won't dwell on it too much because we are doing our wrap-up and we're just explaining why Irving's the MVP. But he's getting physically tortured by evil magics while also watching more and more of his associates not even turning via their own will, but being forced into abominations.
Yeah.
You know, everyone has a limit, and Irving was pushed to it and managed to come through the other side.
Yeah. But yes, as much as I wanted to give it to Irving, I think it's worth giving it to someone else now that we've talked about him for quite some time.
Yeah, sure. Who's your MVP?
So my MVP is going to go to Wynn, in that she's the other side of the good mages that you get to experience. And I think she's interesting in this scenario in that you basically have her the entire segment, apart from the solo bit. She gives you a nice bit of context as to like things down in the lower levels. She gives you the context on like how mages feel about the Tranquil, like, you poor darling, let's get you in here and get you a cup of hot chocolate.
Okay, that's a very unique perspective to Wynn and her motherly nature. A lot of mages, when they see Tranquil, get freaked the fuck out.
Yeah, because they see something that they don't want to become or have to be forced to have to become.
Yeah, it's not a good day.
And yeah, you also get to see her telling Morrigan to shut up, which is something that Morrigan is not normally on the receiving end of.
Oh no, she is all the time. It's just usually Flemeth.
Oh yeah.
I think the weirdness for Morrigan in that scenario is that Wynn's telling her to shut up, but she's still somehow being polite about it.
Yeah. But yeah, Wynn also being a healer as her basic thing is also very physically useful in the combat.
Yeah, she's fucking awesome. Anders takes this role in Awakening, and they nerfed the fuck out of it in 2, but it's still a healing class. And then in 3, there's no such thing as magic healing because that breaks the game.
Yeah, there's like one thing that you can do that's magic healing, and it's like your limit break to resurrect people.
Yes, you've also got Rejuvenating Barrier, but it just increases stamina regen.
Yeah. But yes, so Irving and Wynn, and no mention of any of the Templars as MVPs.
I will say we should give an honorary mention to Gregor, because as much as Irving is like the best first enchanter we've seen, I think Gregor might be the first knight exemplar. What the fuck do they call that?
Yeah, Knight Commander.
Knight Commander. I think he might be the best Knight Commander we've seen. Is he harsh
and
a bit of a dick? Yes, but at the end of the day, he doesn't want to kill all the mages. He wants to keep them safe as much as he wants to keep the world safe.
Yeah, he wants to keep the world safe more than he wants to keep the mages safe, and the fact that he is hesitating means that he's a much better person than Meredith ever could be.
Absolutely. And we get the most touching scene, as touching a scene as you can, with 2 old rivals. Because, again, we need to bring this up. Rivals don't mean enemies. Rivals means, you're on opposite sides of things. It doesn't mean you can't be friendly. We get this touching scene where Gregor just straight up says, I am so happy to see you, Irving. And Irving's just like, I'm sure we'll be biting each other's heads off in a few days.
Yeah. Yeah. Friends, enemies, ultimately rivals.
I thought you were going to say lovers, and I was going to be like, I don't think quite that far. I think the reason why this circle works despite this tragedy is how much respect, begrudging or otherwise, that Gregor and Irving have for each other.
Yeah, like even if it is begrudging, it is still earned.
Exactly.
It just shines through in the tiny amount of interaction we see between them.
Yeah. Like, again, going back to the Mage origin story, you see it the most during that confrontation with Jowen, where if you don't dob Jowen in and you do it all sneaky, Irving is disappointed in you. But if you told him first and you're doing it under Irving's behest, Irving's just straight up goes to bat, goes, he's with me, he was working to bring down this blood mage, with no hesitation.
Yeah, absolutely. But yes, that's about it for today. If you like the episode, as always, you are our favourite people. Leave a comment section down below on YouTube, and if you're not on YouTube and on one of the audio platforms, you can instead send an email to
nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com. You've got the comment section on Spotify as well nowadays. Let us know what you thought of the Mage Tower, specifically of Dragon Age Origins. Let us know what we missed. There's almost certain that we missed something. It might have been your favourite part for all we know. We very much glossed over the Revenant, etc. What's your favourite part of the Mage Tower? Who do you think deserves the MVP? We went for Irving and Wynn, but we could see arguments for other people.
Yeah, like even Shale, as you've described her dream segment part, that deserves like at least an amount of praise. Okay, but yes,
it does. However, it is incredibly very obvious that they're like, shit, we need to give the DLC character a dream sequence. Statue.
Statue again. But yes, if you think we deserve it, like and subscribe and share it with some friends for a little bit of spreading the love, as it were. And it's going to be a goodbye from me.
Goodbye, guys. We'll see you again next week for our finale of Spooky Retros.
Bye.